Howdy folks, I'm Rambunctious Red Fox, readily recruiting ruthless radiators for rude reasons.
I'm Amber.
Here are more rude radiators, or ruthless radiators, for us to recruit for rude reasons. I'm imagining that if they're ruthless, there's plenty of rude reasons that we can think of why they would do this, and I imagine half of them have something to do with Bernard the Unhinged.
I was thinking Bernard the Unhinged might need more for his army.
Yes, let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Deciding Against a Baby Shower Because of My Husband's Ex? For some context, I'm 8 months pregnant, and I wanted to do a baby shower about 2 weeks after the baby came, so everyone could see her when I was ready, and just have a nice see the baby party with everyone all at once. As I was making a list of who we were putting on the invitation list, my husband suggested his ex-wife. She's not a horrible person, but she's very immature and acts like he's the only one in the world that she can rely on for some reason, even though she was the one who divorced him. I get that they were friends forever and married for a long time, but I still question why he thought that it was a good idea and reminded him that he told me that he had cut off contact with her. His reasoning was because if she came, she would be able to bring some boxes of his personal stuff that he never got from her attic after all these years. Then he said that he did cut her off on everything except for Instagram, just in case she ever had an emergency. This was news to me, but there were people around, so I masked my surprise. I shrugged and said that it was alright, as long as she only came and left on the shower day. Not a one or a couple of days earlier, or even try to stay longer afterwards. Later that day, we were cooking dinner when his phone went off. It was the ex. The message that she sent was, I can't wait to see your baby. Not on Instagram, but on his actual context. I put two and two together, and he had lied to me, and he actually hadn't cut her off on everything, or he was in such a quick hurry to get back in contact with his ex that he just had to text her actual number. He knew that I saw the message and tried to calm me down, but I told him that he could take that invitation right back because we would not be having a shower and she wasn't ever welcome anywhere near me or his baby. I know it sounds ridiculous to cancel the whole shower, but we hadn't officially sent out the invitations, nor did we put any kind of down payment on anything. So it wasn't a waste of money or letting anyone down. And if I do have the shower and I don't invite her, then I'll be labeled as the jealous one who can't grow up. For some clarity, I feel like I'm not the jerk because he's more worried about hurting her feelings by actually cutting her off than he is about the fact that I don't feel comfortable with them being friends, even if there's nothing going on. Alright folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I mean, it's clear that OP's and her husband have a serious issue going on here. And that OP is kind of playing second fiddle to the ex. The husband is not being open and honest about his communication, and that is a big issue. And his argument of inviting her to the shower doesn't even make sense because if she still has his belongings, she could drop them off on any day, or he could pick them up on any day. It doesn't have to be the baby shower.
I think everyone's a little bit in the wrong here. Like, I think banning someone from having a certain friend, I think is kind of controlling. And I don't think that that's really a great way to have a healthy relationship.
I mean, to a degree, but it also seems like a lot of times people will have a boundary of like, you cannot stay in contact with a past sexual partner. And this is clearly like, it doesn't sound like they have kids or anything they're juggling. So I can see why OP would not be happy with him staying in contact with her, especially since it seems like like the way he's behaving here, it sounds like he's not over her.
Well, so I think that's a separate issue entirely, right? And I think like if OP hadn't mandated this whole, oh, you have to cut all contact with him, then he wouldn't also be sneaking around behind her back with messaging her and stuff like that, right? But he's wrong for sneaking behind her back and messaging her and everything, right? And this was some kind of, this was her deal breaker type of thing, right? And if he wasn't happy with this deal breaker, then he needed to make that upfront and say, this is unacceptable. I am going to remain in contact with my ex type of thing.
Well,
right?
That's why I don't think OP necessarily did anything wrong, because if she made it clear that this is a deal breaker for her and he said, okay, I'll cut her off, then like he knew the terms of the relationship, and I'm wondering if he had some behavior that led to this, like if he had been doing kind of dodgy things before. I don't know if we have enough of the story there
Yeah.
to judge, but I don't want to say that it's only because OP gave him this ultimatum that he did this sneaky stuff. He could have been sneaky before, and that's why the ultimatum came.
Yeah, and the trouble that I have with this situation in particular is that there's a lot that hasn't been said, right? Like what you said. Why did they cut them off in the to begin with, right? Did he have unresolved feelings for her? Now, I think like if he had unresolved feelings for her and OP knows this, then cutting her off is actually not a bad thing because that's really not a great position to be in, right?
Well, and that's kind of the vibes I was getting from this is that he still has a thing for her. If he's trying to keep her in his life and invite her to the baby shower and everything, it definitely feels like he's probably not over her.
Yeah, I think that he probably isn't, but it's really hard to say, and that's why I'm kind of like still saying like her trying to control him and stuff like that. I don't think is great. Him sneaking around behind her back isn't great. It just kind of feels like a bad situation. It's bound to blow up. Right? I don't think that this is a healthy relationship. I think that they needed counseling a long time ago, whether they realized it or not. And if they don't go to counseling or if they don't learn how to communicate better or more effectively, I don't think this relationship's going to last.
Well, I don't think it's going to last because I think there's a fundamental impasse here where OP doesn't want him having contact with his ex and he doesn't want to cut off his ex and is willing to prioritize keeping contact with his ex over OP.
Yeah. And I do want to point out something in favor of like what you said. OP knows her and it has met her enough that she knows that she's kind of immature and stuff like that. So this could be something where she was coming around a lot and making herself a nuisance or any number of things, right? So, and OP also says that she always feels like she has to rely on her husband, right?
Yeah, and that was kind
So,
of giving me those vibes of like almost like those stories where the mom always
hmm
needs the son to come running once he gets married. It kind of gives me those similar vibes of like there's an unhealthy attachment there.
yeah. So I want to know that backstory. I want to know that backstory. It
And
would be
so,
helpful.
I mean, that definitely played into my judgment here, those kind of little things. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, I do think it's fair that, like, sometimes people can have relationships with past partners and it's
hmm
fine. But a lot of times those can go sideways as well. And so I understand, especially if there is this, like, unhealthy attachment
Yeah.
signs, why
Yeah.
OP wouldn't be comfortable with that relationship.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Catfish 1960 says, you have a huge husband problem and now you are stuck dealing with him for at least 18 years. And even if you divorce him, he could go back to his ex and she will have your kid 50% of the time. And Board Panda 55 says, she needs to text them both. You two already broke up one marriage. Why are you determined to break up another? And without a doubt, 3 says, not the jerk, and you have a huge red flag in this relationship. I'm so sorry now that you have to deal with his betrayal. Does not appear that he's too concerned about you in regards to X. Also, definitely not a good idea to have a newborn around a lot of people. Your baby doesn't need to be subjected to viruses at this early stage in life. I would consider going to counseling for both of you. You need to set boundaries with him. Good luck, OP. And PM me your cat pics says, I totally agree with the situation being a red flag. It's concerning that he's prioritizing his ex's feelings over yours, especially at such an important time. You're right to set boundaries, and counseling could help. Also, it's smart to avoid big gatherings with a newborn due to the risk of germs. You deserve respect and peace of mind, and it's important for him to understand that. Best of luck with everything. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for asking my friends to stop scheduling workplace events at the restaurant that I work at? I'm a 20-year-old female, and my friend Camelia, a 23-year-old female, work at the same place. We have been acquaintances for a long time, but only got closer when I got hired at the start of last year. She is essentially my boss's assistant. Besides working here in November, I took part in a part-time job in a restaurant where I work on Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays and holidays. My boss, a 52-year-old male, likes to host dinners for our whole office at least once a month or when we finish a really big project. Usually I can't make it, so I don't pay a lot of attention to the discussions around it. At the start of January, I realized the dinner for the opening of the year was going to be at the restaurant that I work at. I talked with Camelia, and she said that she didn't realize that, but that it couldn't be changed since the reservations were already made. That dinner was awkward for me since my coworkers kept asking me to sit down and eat with them and were kind of giving me weird looks. I think it was a pity, to be quite honest. They left a huge tip, which was both cool and a bit embarrassing. Afterwards, everyone started treating me differently, and my supervisor even pulled me aside and asked if everything was alright. Lol. They had good intentions, but it was genuinely annoying for me, especially since I don't talk much about my personal life at work. Well, the February dinner was set for the restaurant that I worked at again. I asked Camelia about it, and she just said that the boss really liked the place and that there was nothing that she could do about it. I decided to trade with one of the other workers in the restaurant that works in the back. He was previously a waiter, to try and avoid the awkwardness. I was not even 1 hour into my shift when the owner came in and informed me that I had to trade again because table 4, the one with the coworkers, asked for me specifically. When I switched, Camelia made a joke about me hiding from them, and everything was awkward again. After that, I sent a text to Camelia asking if she would stop please scheduling dinners here. She said that she couldn't, and we had an argument. I said that she was being a bad friend, and she said that I should just quit one of the jobs if I was so embarrassed of people from one workplace meeting me at another. She also called me poor, but apologized for that. Lol. Am I the jerk here? I'm obviously young, so I don't know if I'm being immature. Camelia is upset with me. Alright folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk, and she is not your friend. She is doing this intentionally, it sounds like, to rub it in your face. And the appropriate thing the last time around would have just been to let you work in the back. The fact that she's demanding you work the table when she knows that you don't want to be part of that is completely inappropriate. So I would recommend talking to the boss and letting them know how you feel, and so that maybe that they will not schedule it there anymore if she is like the one who's doing this on her own and it's not the boss specifically requesting it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit of a challenging situation. I hate to make the paint the bad picture type of thing here because I don't know what her true motivations are. It could be that the coworkers are kind of feeling bad for OP and they want to leave her a big tip or something like that. And it might not be that they want to hold power over her or anything, but that they just feel, pity for her because that's kind of the vibe I got there.
I think maybe the other coworkers, but the one who like made fun of OP for being poor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that she is not OP's friend. She is intentionally, like, if she's the one who asked for OP specifically and she made the joke, oh, about the OP hiding from them,
Yeah.
it seems she wants to rub OP's nose in the face, rub OP's nose in, the fact that she's working at this restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get warm fuzzies about it, and I think at this point in time, OP shouldn't have gone to Camelia about this. I think they should have just gone to the boss at that point in time and talk to them or schedule a meeting with them to kind of explain the situation.
Well, I think they were trying to handle it on an individual level first. And a lot of times when you're being feel like you might be harassed at work, they recommend you talking to the person who's harassing you first.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you there,
Yeah.
but it seems like OP talked to her first and she didn't do anything to resolve it. She kept making excuses.
Yeah.
So that's why I would just say that OP, the next course of action would have been to elevate it to Camelia's boss and to say, look, Camelia's clearly not handling this. I'll talk to the boss at that point in time. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for leaving my own birthday party because my girlfriend turned it into a proposal for herself? I am a 28-year-old male and I had a birthday dinner last weekend and my girlfriend Sarah, a 27-year-old female, offered to plan it. I was excited because I usually keep things low-key, but she said that she wanted to make it special. She booked a nice restaurant and invited close friends and family. Everything was going great until it was time for dessert. The waiter brought out a cake, but instead of my name it said, Will you marry me, Sarah? I was completely blindsided. Sarah got all teary-eyed, turned to me and said, Well, this was the best surprise ever, right? Everyone around us started clapping and her friends were filming. I just sat there stunned. She took my silence as a hesitation and started going on about how she knew that I wasn't big on grand gestures, but she couldn't wait anymore, so she took matters into her own hands. At that moment, I stood up and I said, This is my birthday. If you wanted a proposal, you should have talked to me about it first. I then grabbed my stuff and I walked out. Sarah was mortified, and her friends blew up my phone, calling me a jerk for embarrassing her and ruining the night. She even said that I humiliated her when she was trying to do something romantic. Now my family is split. Some say that I should have just gone along with it for the night, while others think that she crossed a major boundary. So, am I the jerk for leaving my own birthday party because my girlfriend hijacked it for a proposal? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk, and there's no winning in these situations. If, the person turns down the proposal, then they're the villain. If they accept it and then quietly turn it down, they're the villain for stringing them along.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, there's nothing you could do to appease them. So I don't think you're in the wrong. Your girlfriend unilaterally decided that she wanted to be engaged and set up a very manipulative situation.
Yeah.
And she didn't even have "Will you marry me?" OP. She tried to make it look like OP had set this up
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah, I think this would have been really different if she had proposed to him, which she could have done, right? And I mean, that is more and more common that the woman proposes to the guy. And I think that if she was really worried about him not, following through with a proposal or something like that, then she could have tried, shot her shot, right?
Right. Although I don't recommend doing it on someone else's birthday.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would have been in poor taste.
Yeah, because there are two issues here. One is that it's his birthday and she's all of a sudden making this about her and the
Mm-hmm.
proposal. But in some ways, the bigger issue is that she tried to make it look like he was proposing to her.
Yeah. And when he didn't play along, it just kind of got awkward. What was she expecting out of this? Because he didn't have a ring.
Yeah, I think she was just hoping that he was just gonna roll with it and, be too uncomfortable to turn her down.
Yeah. And yeah, the whole thing just feels very manipulative,
Hmm.
and I think that OP absolutely did the right thing here, and it's not great. It's really not great because it's clear that she is kind of trying to play this in a very kind of slimy way.
Yeah, so I would seriously reevaluate this relationship. I don't feel like this is a good, healthy relationship at this point. If she's willing to do this kind of thing, because again, if she wanted a proposal, wanted to be proposed to, she could have sat down and had a conversation about with you, talked about timelines, talked about what she was looking for, but instead she just unilaterally made a decision that should be made as a couple.
Yeah, but let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why did the couple drive to Bangor for dinner?
Well, they drove to Bangor for dinner because they wanted to get some red lobster.
They wanted a main course.
Red lobster. Except for I don't think that store is open anymore.
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure it's shut down.
Uh, and today is the Missouri Compromise Day, which is the
Oh,
anniversary of when Maine became a state. Missouri as well, but so I made it about Maine because I'm from Maine. And it's also National If Pets Had Thumbs Day.
so folks, go find one of those fake, prosthetic thumbs and attach them to your pets so that they can
No.
experience the holiday for themselves. And I have Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Manic Monday, folks. I hope your Monday is off to a great start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and let's have it an old, reliable one. Let's have it on unpleasant surprises.
If you want to propose to someone, that's fine, but don't stage it to look like they're proposing to you.
Yeah, that ends in disaster. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.